Hello and welcome to Victoria's Cantina, where today we're having a look at the Hasbro Power Rangers Lightning Collection Mighty Morphin Lord Zedd and Rita Repulsa 25th Anniversary GameStop exclusive 6-inch action figure set. Alright you guys, so this is actually the very first Lightning Collection review I've done here on VC, and there's really not any reason as to why I haven't reviewed them before other than I'm busy and I've got a lot of ground to cover with all the other things that I do review here on the channel. That being said, I have been collecting the Lightning Collection only as far as the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers go. I don't do the Power Rangers in Space or anything that came after those initial seasons of the show because I grew older, I grew out of Power Rangers, and I don't really know anything about all that other stuff. But Mighty Morphin is where it's at for me. That's where the nostalgia is. That's where the history is. And I've been buying up all the Mighty Morphin figures for the most part. So this is especially cool. We've already gotten Zedd before, but as Hasbro's been doing with these Power Rangers sets, they give us a little bit of new, a little bit of old. And in this case, well, we've gotten Zedd before, but we're getting Rita Repulsa. Finally, a proper Rita Repulsa action figure, and that is just freaking cool. So I really like the way this looks. I really like the box art. I think that's been one of the standouts for me about this line is the box art is always top notch and it's unique across the board. It's not standardized like Black Series kind of has been or Marvel Legends. They kind of do their own artwork for each of the Power Rangers figures, and I really like that. The horror of your presence is absolutely required at the marriage of Rita Repulsa and Lord Zedd. Of course, it kind of ruined the little humorous thing there with all the other languages that are on there. But that's kind of par for the course these days. You can see the figure is looking really cool right there. A little bit stylized compared to how the actual figures look. Just get the Saban's Mighty Morphin Power Rangers logo there. And here at the bottom, not really much to see other than the UPC. All right, I'm going to take some time, get all this cool stuff unboxed. When we come back, we'll take a closer look at these figures. All right, now here is the dastardly duo out of the packaging. I'm just laughing because the expression on Rita is golden. It's really quite good. If you've never seen this episode of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, go to YouTube and look it up. I mean, this wedding is one of the most absurd, craziest things that you will ever see. I mean, it truly is. As a kid, it might not quite seem that way, but when you go back and look at it as an adult, or if you look at it for the first time as an adult, oh my gosh, it is a crazy scene. One of the wildest for sure in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Anyway, let's talk about the figures. We'll go ahead and focus first on Lord Zedd. So, of course, you guys know I like my variations. I like to look for things that are different between re-released versions of figures because oftentimes you can find something that's different. So we will be evaluating Lord Zedd for any variations between this and his previous release. As I noted, I haven't reviewed these figures before, so I'll talk to you about Lord Zedd. It's a really cool design. I've always thought this was a pretty scary looking character. He was scary in the series, and he was scary in the 1995 film. He even sounded scarier, as I recall. I think the figure looks great. I think the proportions are good. There is a little bit of a gap between the neck area and then the top of the arms here at the shoulders, so you do see there is that gap there. I find that a little bit annoying. It kind of sticks out to me when I look at the figure, but other than that, the proportions are nice. The physique of the figure is obviously quite menacing and looks good. Like seriously, this figure is like something out of a Rob Zombie movie, just like the way it looks. It's scary, it's imposing, and it quite creeps me out how it looks like you can see his brain, but then his body looks like muscle tissue. It's just weird. But the colors are nice, the plastic is nice, the outfit, the detailing with the paint and all that is really nice too. The translucent hoses and the way that connects to the different areas of his suit. I mean, he's barely got a suit, but yeah, it's an interesting look for sure, but like I said, quite scary. And when you get up close and personal with Lord Zedd, which nobody wants to do, not even Rita wanted to do that on their wedding day. Yeah, he's pretty creepy. There was a variant with the very first release where it had a lighter colored visor. Then they went to a variation that had the darker visor as a running change. It was a little bit darker. It looks like they've gone back, and I will do a comparison with the one that I already have in just a bit so that you can see that for yourself. But it indeed looks like they went with the lighter color. I don't know what's more accurate. I feel like the darker one would have been more accurate. But in any case, this is nice. You can see he's got his letter Z up here. This is kind of pliable, but not too much. They're like what looks like it's his head, but it looks like brains. I always thought that was really creepy. And he just looks scary. I always wonder what he looks like underneath the mask. I don't really want to know, actually. Don't, so if you know, don't tell me, because it's scary. Yeah, the body looks good. Like I said, these silver details for the costume, these are separately sculpted pieces. At least this is here in the chest. And you can see very, very soft and pliable. Those translucent blue hoses connect to the underside of this metal frame. This part back here is just kind of sculpted into the figure, goes down his back. And then you see more of the hoses connecting here at the back. These are very, very rubbery, very soft. The sculpted detail on the figure is really good. Like you can see his muscle. Like I know I said it looks like muscle tissue, but it really looks like, it really does. I mean, look at the fibers and stuff that's sculpted on there. He's creepy. I always thought he was creepy. And then the legs, quite nice. You can see more of the silver costume bits going down to his feet. And yeah, so one thing I will say is that the figure is very rubbery. Like, I mean, even if you look at the arms right here where they connect from the top to the bottom, it seems very plasticky, very like pliable, not the best quality. And he is hard to stand as a result. Like the plastic just isn't, the legs are kind of loose, a little bit disappointing. As far as articulation goes, you will find that there is a ball joint here at the upper head. So it's basically a ball, and then that's connected to the neck, which you can get down, you can go up. Actually get some really good movement with the head thanks to that bend. And then because of the ball, you can rotate it side to side, and you can tilt it just a little bit. Here are the shoulders, insert molded joints, butterfly joint. We have a swivel at the bicep, double bends at the elbows. Of course, you do have these wires here, so you kind of have to navigate them a little bit, but it's not too bad. You can kind of maneuver around them. Here at the wrists, so at the right, you're going to go forward and back, twist. At the left, twist, and forward and back as well. We do have a ball joint here at the torso, and that actually gets really, really, really nice movement. We also get an ab crunch down here, so, really nice combination of articulation that functions very well. Here at the hips, he does a pretty decent Lord Zedd split. Thanks to these insert molded connections, they do go forward as well. You have twists here at both of the thighs, double bends here at the knees. And it looks like this came unplugged right here. We'll just go ahead and plug that back in. Then, of course, down here we have ankle pivot, and we have a bend, so we can make that go not really back. You can see that this contact right there between the two parts doesn't really get you, too much movement, but you can go forward a little bit. So you do have a little bit of movement going forward, and it looks like these are coming out once again. Zedd does come with two hands, so you can see we have kind of the more gripping hand meant for his staff, and then we have a fist. And those contrast with the open hands that he comes with out of the packaging. We get this little doohickey right here. Remind me what this is called. It's been so long since I've seen the show, but I know this came with the standard release. We get some really cool pink lightning, and you could wrap this around his staff, or you could wrap it around Rita's staff, however you want to do it. And speaking of his staff, here it is, of course, the iconic letter Z. And it's pretty cool. I would have liked a more metallic look to it, but it ain't too bad. This is a little pointy there, so be careful with that. Now, bringing in the original release Lord Zedd here on the right side of the frame, you can see that they're essentially the same. I'm actually surprised that they aren't more different than they are. The visor color is more or less the same. I would say there is a slight difference between one and the other. I will say that the original release does seem a little bit more solid. Like this guy, I have him in a weird pose because he's hard to stand. And, that always irritates me when figures are just plasticky and have gummy material and are just hard to work with. The original seems to be a little bit more solid. I think the hoses are a little bit different. If you look at them, very slightly, like I would say this one's a little bit more saturated, like in terms of the blue color. Like the visors are slightly different. Other than that, I'm really not seeing anything different. I mean, like I said, this one feels a little bit more durable to me. Now you will notice that on the new one from the 2-pack, they painted his fingertip silver. On the original, they did not do that. And the same is going to carry forward to the interchangeable hands. On the new figure, the interchangeable hands do have the silver paint, whereas on the original release, they don't have the silver paint. Also, the little weapon right here that I'm asking you guys to remind me about has still some red paint on it. The original one didn't have the red paint, so that is another difference. And of course, the new version has the pink lightning. The original version had the red lightning with it. I don't know what I like better. I think I like the pink one. They're both cool though. In any case, here is Rita Repulsa. Does she look repulsed? Does she look repulsive? Either way, it's a great expression. It's a great expression. I anticipate, though, that if they ever get around to doing a wide release for this figure, they're probably going to do a new expression. That's just a guess. I mean, Rita obviously didn't always have that expression, but she kind of always did too at the same time. And her voice is the most irritating voice I think I've ever heard. It didn't really bother me as a kid, but now as an adult, when you go back and look at clips and stuff, it's like, how did I ever get through that? It's awful. But the figure, like, it emanates the essence of this character. And I think that's what really shines about it, is it just really captures her essence, her spirit. And I really like it. I really like it. She's obviously got the mixed media where you have some plastic, you have some soft goods, but the silhouette seems pretty nice. The costume is actually really well done. That's another highlight of the figure, is that, the costume just looks really, really nice. But like with Lord Zedd, she is a little bit hard to stand. So you kind of have to adjust her if you want to keep her standing. And I think that's a combination of the design of the character and then the design of the figure with the quality of plastics and materials that were used. Here's a close-up in all her glory. And yeah, it's pretty epic. It really is. I mean, the face just looks so good. For such an irritating character, they really went all out on the design of the figure. I mean, she looks awesome. Just like the paint detail on her face is excellent. Everything is very nicely painted. And like I said, that expression just like oozes Rita Repulsa. So gotta hand it to them for that. Actually the hair is one of the other highlights I would say of this figure. The hair just looks excellent. The sculpting of it. It just looks really, really good. Could they have done a little bit more with the washing? Maybe, but I think it's completely sufficient. The bandages around it look very nice. The details here on her costume look really nice. So this little frilly part of the outfit is, just rubbery, very pliable. Of course, she's got her nice chest armor, let's call it. And yeah, it's pretty wild. Here at her wrist, you can see that she does have these strings going around the wrists, and on both sides, she's got rings on her fingers. They're on the left hand and on the right hand. And here at the back, you'll see that the costume has this rubber piece here. It's also the soft plastic. It flips up like that. This looks really nice, kind of like feathers. And then if you lift up the soft goods, you will see that she's basically just got a black outfit with black boots. And this looks really good. The soft goods, I think, is really nicely detailed. It's a very stretchy material, but it looks really great. Like the way that they did the silver detailing on there, just really shiny. And there's a glowy quality to the soft goods as well. You can see it's very reflective. And I think that's one of the, also another highlight. I mean, like I said, there's so many good things about this figure. You get more of it on the sleeves. And I just love it. I love the figure. I really, really do. As far as the plastics go, I think she's a little bit better than Lord Zedd. If we're talking articulation, so you do get a ball joint here at the head. So she looks up a lot. She looks down. So there is a ball, but there's also you can see that there is that swivel joint right there. So, that gets her to go down and up. For the ball, you can move it side to side. A little bit of a tilt, not too much. Insert molded joints here at the shoulders. So it's kind of hard to tell exactly what's going on. So we're just going to kind of work with the joints here. It seems like there may be a butterfly joint in there. Yeah, there is a butterfly joint in there. That is pretty cool. Not really necessary, but hey, we'll take it, right? There doesn't seem to be a swivel here at the bicep as far as I can feel. But at the elbows, again, it's really hard to see what's going on here. I'm trying to determine if this is like a double bend or just a single bend or what. This is probably going to be just a ball joint because, you can twist it. Here at the wrists, you can rotate this one. So it has a forward and backward bend. The left one, that one's also going to have a forward and backward bend here at the torso. So I think right here we should be able to see what's going on a little bit better. So yeah, ball joint here at the upper part of the torso, and then an ab crunch at the lower part. So yeah, see that? Look at that. She can really move. She can really, really move. Here at the hips, insert molded joints, pretty nice split right there. They go forward basically all the way. Rotations here at the thighs. You do have double bends here at her knees. So pretty nice right there. And then ankle pivots with bend right there. So really good range of movement. Check that out. that is pretty sweet. So yeah, overall, really nicely articulated figure. I didn't expect she was going to have this much movement to her, but it's cool. So Rita does come with 2 interchangeable hands. You can see she's got her rings. This one's like an open hand. Kind of looks like she's like grasping at something. And then this one's just a fist. And both of those contrast with her more gripping hand that she comes here for the right for her staff. And then also the more gripping hand that she has here on the left as well. Rita comes with the Green Ranger crystals, which is a pretty nice detail that was added into the set. She's got the love potion that she used on poor Lord Zedd. And the top part does not come off, but you can see it's got the heart. So obviously it's the love potion. She's got a bouquet of, I guess they're roses, right? Which she did have the bouquet in the episode. I don't know if they were exactly this color, but they look nice. We get the wedding cake, and one of the cool details you can see here is that they actually have the little figurines there of Lord Zedd and Rita. If you go and look at the episode, it actually looks like they used action figures, like maybe even the Bandai figure of Lord Zedd, but Rita doesn't really look like a figure. It's interesting though. But yeah, the rest of the cake looks really good, nicely sculpted. We never got a really good look at it in that episode, but this is pretty nice. It is kind of hollow like in here, but no, really nicely done. It's got like a spider right there too. And of course we get Rita's staff. It looks great. Very nice sturdy plastic, a little bit pliable, a little bit pointy on this end. And then over here you do have nice painted details, some gold, some red, and the whole thing just looks really nicely sculpted. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so there you have it. These are the Hasbro Power Rangers Lightning Collection. Mighty Morphin, Lord Zedd, and Rita Repulsa 25th anniversary GameStop exclusive figure set. Overall, you guys, I really like this. Now, I know we don't love getting repeats a lot of the time, as is the case with Lord Zedd, but it's really fitting for this particular set, given what goes on in this particular episode. And Hasbro actually did a really cool commercial for this particular set when they were advertising it earlier this year. So if you haven't checked that out, definitely give that a look. The figures themselves, Lord Zedd is cool in terms of his sculpt. I don't like the gaps between his arms and his shoulders, but the rest of the sculpt is really nice. The problem I have with the figure is that he's difficult to stand because the legs are kind of loose and the plastic is of a rubbery quality that is just insufficient. There's really no reason that Hasbro should be making figures that are of this kind of plastic. It's just too rubbery. It's hard to work with. It's irritating and it's just bad form. I do like that they painted his fingertips. I do like the slight modifications they made to some of the accessories. Rita, on the other hand, is obviously the star of the set. She's the brand new figure. She really shines. The sculpting of the figure is awesome. Easily one of the best figures in the Lightning Collection line. The head sculpt is just a thing of beauty. It really is. As ugly and horrible as Rita is, the figure really is a thing of beauty. A little hard to stand like Lord Zedd, but not quite as bad. The plastic's a little bit better overall. And I'm actually surprised with the level of articulation that she has. She's pretty poseable. And she just looks great. The costume, the mixture of the plastic with the soft goods, the whole package for Rita is great. The wedding accessories are nice. Rita's staff is nice. I'm really happy with this set. If you don't have Lord Zedd, then obviously this would be the way to get Lord Zedd and Rita together. Most bang for your buck. But if not, you really got to get Rita. Even though they're probably going to do a wide release, I would assume at some point. It's really nice to get her now and, finally have a figure of Rita Repulsa. And in the Lightning Collection, which I'm a huge fan of, one of my favorite Hasbro lines at this point in time. I really like the set. Some repeat, some issues with Lord Zedd, but for the most part, it's a solid set. I'm happy to have it. All right, my friends, I hope that you've enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts down below. Will you be picking it up? Sound off down in the comments. Be sure to follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Subscribe to the Cantina Chatter podcast wherever you get your podcasts. And as always, I'd like to thank you for tuning in to Victoria's Cantina. Until next time, bye-bye.